You know, we all need them. We all need strategies for living. So, are you ready? You ready for your daily dose of radio rehab?
I don't know if I'm ready today.
Yeah, well, you better buckle. You know how sometimes I tell you to buckle your seatbelt.
Yeah.
Double strap in. Well, you better do that today. Hey,
Two
folks,
straps.
With two straps. Hey, folks, welcome into 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome back into another edition of Strategies for Living. I'm Dr. David McMillian. He's Jimmie Bryant, Ph.D. That means he produces, he hosts, and he directs.
That's right. How you doing?
I'm doing good, and we have along for the ride my lovely wife, Lauren Leon McMillian, PLPC.
Happy to be here.
And
That's
I'm
right.
glad you're here. Okay.
Welcome.
Jimmie, our life strategist today is, he's one of my very favorite. You know, I'm not supposed to play favorites, right?
No, you're not. Don't play favorites. No.
But Raymond Grace is one of my very favorite life strategists. Let me give, and I know you don't know Raymond yet, and there's probably some listeners that are going to meet him for the first time this evening. Let me give you a quote directly from Raymond, and this will kind of set the stage.
Okay.
Okay? I'm quoting Raymond Grace. If you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. If you do something, something might happen. The future is yours. Do something about it.
I like Raymond already.
It just, I mean, is that just goes right to the point, gets to it? That
Signature
is.
of a life strategist.
That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
That is Raymond Grace. That is who we're going to meet this evening. And this gentleman knows more about how to manipulate energy. Because, quoting Einstein or Willie Nelson, you pick, energy follows thought.
That's right.
And I tell you, Raymond Grace has been living energy follows thought for a long, long time now. And I can't wait for him to share his experience and his wisdom with us this evening here on Strategies for Living.
Yeah.
Folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We are brought to you by the Robinson Film Center. We're brought to you by Azalea Cleaners, by Pintail Roofing, by Learning Rx, by Hempress, Cannabis with Love, 3766 Uri Drive in Shreveport, and we're brought to you by the Shreveport Little Theater. Back in a moment, we're going to meet our life strategist, Raymond Grace, today here on Strategies for Living. Stay with us.
Reading begins not in the classroom, but in your child's brain. I'm Donisa Walker with Learning Rx Shreveport. If your child struggles to read, maybe he or she has trouble focusing or comprehending, Learning Rx Shreveport offers a science solution to reading problems, working one-on-one with your child, targeting his or her reading skills. Today, call Learning Rx Shreveport. Make an appointment to have your child assessed. I know you want to help your child, so does Learning Rx Shreveport.
Hi, this is Jay Merle for Pintail Roofing. Let's talk about quality. When you hire Pintail to build your roof, here's what you can expect. Quality and quality control are the most important concerns for us at Pintail, and you need to know that Pintail stands tall with swift and professional performance on any warranty call. This is our most important policy. And remember, we're your neighbors. We'll be here for you for the long haul. Our family's lived here for over 100 years, and we aren't going anywhere. On the commercial side of Pintail's business, our fluid-applied roofing solutions can save thousands of dollars over conventional commercial roofing options. Call Pintail at 226-ROOF for a free inspection of your home or commercial building. That's 226-7663. Pintail Roofing. What's the condition of your roof?
Hey, welcome in. Welcome into 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Welcome into Strategies for a Living. Lauren Leon McMillian and Jimmie Bryant, David McMillian. Let's welcome into the program now Raymon Grace. He is the president and founder of the Raymon Grace Foundation, which is a 501c3 charitable organization. It focuses on clean water. And the Raymon Grace Foundation actually uses energy work and dowsing to purify polluted water all over the world. His other projects focus on bettering the environment and humanity. Raymond is a world-renowned dowser and speaker and author. In fact, he's authored 3 books: The Future is Yours, Do Something About It, Techniques That Work for Me, and Seasons of April. His books have been translated into Italian and Spanish and Chinese and Russian. Raymond, welcome back. Welcome back to Strategies.
Thank you, Dave. I appreciate the opportunity to be on with you tonight and talk to the folks. So you may need to speak up just a little bit here. Don't hear the best in the world. I've shot a lot of guns, run a lot of chainsaws in my life. So
we'll crank up. We'll crank it up as much as we can.
So we speak the same language.
There you go. There you go. How did you get into this? For those folks that are listening, that some folks will know who you are. Some folks, we're introducing you this evening. How did you get started, Raymond, doing what you do?
I'll keep this real brief. I remember the first time I got a hint. I was in algebra class when I was 16 years old, and I never learned anything about algebra, and I never needed it. But a teacher made a statement one day, and she said, according to the other doctors, scientists, whatever, that Einstein only used about 10% of his brain.
Right.
Well, I had heard of Einstein, but I didn't really know anything much about him. And I think, well, what could he do if he had used 25% of his brain? So I started out that day to see if I could learn what we could do if we used more of our brain. And I'm still learning, and that was a long time ago.
I understand.
Life to me has just been one continual learning process. And I have never spent a day in college. I don't own a suit and tie. Watermelon's the biggest word I know, and I've reached 150 countries around this planet doing stuff like this.
I love it. All right, now you are a dowser. You do dowsing. Explain what that is. Some people might hear that and say, oh, that's woo-woo. But actually, dowsing is you're just dealing with your own thoughts, right?
Well, yes, it's been around for centuries. From what little I have read on this, and I'm not an authority on it, I try to be very upfront in what I know and what I don't know, but dowsing was used hundreds of years ago to find the best energetic site to put cathedrals on. Stonehenge, I think, is on a real high energy site. So it's been used for a number of things.
Right.
It's been used here in these mountains of southwest Virginia, where I live, to find water.
Right.
And they actually weren't called dowsers. They were called water wishers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people may have thought it was witchcraft. So, that kind of gets a label on different things that doesn't conform to society.
Right.
But all dowsing is the use of a pendulum that tells you what you already know, but you don't realize that you know it. And I use a 45 caliber bullet on a chain for a pendulum. Now, there's nothing magical about this. I want to clear up some misconceptions here. People think that the more expensive pendulum they get, the more accurate the answers. That is not true at all. You can tie a nut on a string and do just as much as you can with a $400 or $500 gold-plated pendulum. So don't get suckered in buying stuff like that, folks.
Yeah.
It's not going to work any better for you. And that's why I use a bullet on a chain.
Yeah.
So all it is a movement that it's not really a physical, intentionally muscular effort on my part. I just hold the pendulum by a chain, ask a question, and it will move.
Right.
And I don't really use it to find water because there's other people can do that better than I can. I use it to get information.
Right.
And I've said it this way: if you can dial reasonably accurate, and ask the right questions, you can find out pretty much what you need to know about anybody. And just to give you some examples, I always tell people, before you spend any money with anybody, check their integrity. Now, can we do stuff like this? We sure can. I do it a lot. You find out, you can even find out if someone is dangerous. Find out if your kid is going to school, that there's a pedophile in the school. See, I'm a very practical, blunt, down-to-earth, logical person.
Yeah.
So I'm not into a lot of woo-woo stuff.
Yeah.
I use this stuff to get information that we need to know. And that about the checking schools just happened to come to mind because you folks out there listening can actually learn to do this.
Anybody can learn this, can't they?
Yeah.
Say again, Dave?
Anybody can learn this.
Well, no, not anybody can ride a bicycle.
Oh, okay.
There's some people that just don't get it.
Okay, all right, fair.
But I'll put it this way: the average person of reasonable intelligence can do it.
Okay, all right. I think that's a good way to approach it.
And some are better than others.
Yeah.
See, some people can play a sport better than others. Some will make better grades in school. Some will make better choices in business. So,
it's some part natural ability, but then some part practice.
No, wait a minute. That was a lady's voice, and it was low, and I didn't hear it.
Yeah, so it's one part of it is practice, then, right?
I still missed a word.
Okay.
Part is what?
One part of it is practice.
Oh, practice. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
See, I read a book one time that said every star athlete has spent at least 10,000 hours of practice.
Yeah.
Well, I've probably spent a lot more than that doubting because I get continual emails of people wanting me to work for them, doubting questions. We do a lot of exorcisms. I hope this don't scare your audience off. But there's a lot of good people that live in haunted houses and don't know it. So I get asked to help do things like that.
Right.
And so far I've got a real good success rate. I have used a little bit, not a whole lot, but helping police find criminals.
Right.
I don't know that there is a limit on what you can do. If you need to get information on practically any subject, you can use doubting to get that information. And
Raymond Grace does teach how to dowse, and there's a lot of information. He has newsletters. Let me give you his website, raymondgrace.us. And he teaches classes live. There's also videos that you can download. You can find all about it at raymondgrace.us. Raymond Grace is our life strategist this evening. Let me talk to you about something that's been going on for over 100 years. I'm talking about American theater at its best, Shreveport Little Theater. And, of course, you can find Shreveport Little Theater at where it's hung out for 100 years, 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport, right?
Isn't it awesome?
Yeah.
That is something, it's so amazing to me.
It is amazing. And play after play after play entertaining us on stage starting September the 1st, always Patsy Cline. And this is going to be great, and it kicks off
It's next weekend.
Starts next weekend. It kicks off the 102nd season. After Always Patsy Cline, you're going to want to see My Way, the music of Sinatra, in October and November. The Wonderettes are back in December with Winter Wonderettes, and then 5 women wearing the same dress in January. Dial M for Murder in February and March, and then Jimmy Buffett's Escape to Margaritaville. What a season it's going to be. You need to get your season tickets. How do you do that? Well, you go to ShreveportLittleTheater.com. They're at 812 Margaret Place in Shreveport. American theater at its best. ShreveportLittleTheater.com. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Jimmie and Lauren and David, we're with Raymon Grace. Jimmie and Lauren, first rule of success. Mm-hmm. I'm quoting Raymond now.
Yeah.
Think of what you want, not what you don't want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty practical. Raymond, I want to talk a little bit about water, but before we do that, let's talk quickly. You've got three main principles that really underscore your work, right?
Yes, and we can quote them real quick.
Okay.
Number one, all things, including beliefs, thoughts, memories, and opinions, are forms of energy. Mm-hmm. The intelligent human mind has the ability to direct energy. Number two, energy is impressed upon matter. I got that one from Einstein. So that means that all thoughts and actions are forms of energy, and your body is matter. Mm-hmm. So the reason people have a lot of trouble is they put their body in a low-energy environment, and it has a very negative effect upon you. I'm very particular where I go and who I would associate with. And I just stay out of low-energy places. And another, again, this has come from Einstein, energy follows thought. Everything I do is based on those three short, simple principles.
And so really, you know, if we really understand those principles, it kind of makes worry. We should just we really shouldn't worry about anything, should we?
No, because worry feeds the problem. Worry is the most counterproductive thing that a human can do. Why? Because I just explained it. Energy follows thought.
Yeah.
So if you talk about your aches and pains and poverty and all this, you're not going to get out of it. You're going to create more of it. So you quoted this just a few minutes ago. One of the main keys for success is think of what you want instead of what you don't want.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I have studied humans all my life, and I learned mostly what not to do.
Where did you get started? How did dowsing come into play for you?
Oh, okay. Back in 1993, I had just finished up taking a series of classes from a fellow by the name of Jose Silva down in Laredo, Texas.
Yeah, Silva Mind Control.
Known as Silva, S-I-L-V-A, Silva Mind Control.
Right.
And I was invited to a group of dowsers over in North Carolina to speak on mind control.
Right.
Well, when I got over there, I found out a little bit about dowsing. I'd heard of people finding water with forked sticks, but I never connected the dots on all of this.
Right.
And after watching them, getting acquainted, going back a few times, I realized these people have something that's very important, but they don't realize they've got it. They spend their time out here dowsing as a group to find a bad water line that's not leaking or causing any harm.
Right.
They don't dig it up to prove that it's there. You just got to take somebody's word for it. So I'm thinking, why do this? You know, if we're going to put our energy and effort into something, let's use it to solve problems with.
Yeah.
So that's what I have done the rest of my life, and I'm constantly learning.
We're always, in effect, training our brain, aren't we?
Yes, and it can be trained for good purposes or bad, and we have the choice.
Yeah, but most of us don't take control. I mean, we're always brain training. That's part of what life is. But most of us, would it be fair to say most of us don't know that and don't know how to control our brain training?
No, it's very fair to say that. I've had people like that around me all my life. But I learned from those people, too. I learned what not to do. See, this is the way I see it, and I don't want to insult anybody else there, even the people I'm talking about, but I grew up in a world that people bitched, whined, and complained about something. If you ask them how they were, well, the rheumatism was hurting, or they broke a leg, or they had a cold.
Right. Right.
If the people ask me how I am, I got a standard answer. I'm older than dirt and tougher than nails.
I love it.
I love it.
Why? Because I programmed myself. I brainwashed myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, you know, this may blow people away, but you built a new knee for yourself. And I mean,
I did indeed. I'm real proud of it, too.
Yeah, tell us about that.
Bringing that up. Would you like me to give you a brief explanation?
Yeah, tell us about it.
All right. What happened? My dad had a crippled left knee, which he suffered with until he died. Well, whenever he died, it came to me. Now, exactly the why of this, I do not know. But for 28 years, I would have knee problems from time to time, sometimes so serious that I would limp quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I was getting to where it was difficult to climb these mountains up here because there's nothing flat where I live. It's either straight up or straight down.
Right.
And I got to thinking one day, and I was watching a video, and I have no idea who the speaker was, but he was a medical professional, and he made a statement that got my attention. He said, 95% of human DNA is just what we call junk DNA. And I'm thinking, I don't believe that. Because whoever, the spirit or entity or whatever that created human beings didn't create junk.
God didn't make junk, did he?
People just think I'm smart enough to figure out what to do with it yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I decided that I would go back in time to the moment of conception, and I would remove all information from all strands of my DNA that contributed to a crippled knee. And I would replace it with the appropriate information for a perfectly healthy, well-functioning knee. Well, it sounds good, but the next morning when I woke up, I had to get a cane just to walk to the kitchen. I'd never used a cane in my life, but I couldn't walk.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And I'm thinking, now, what in the world is wrong here?
What did I do?
So I've got a friend that's really pretty sharp on this, and I called him, and I said, did I do what I think I did? And if so, what went wrong? He said, oh, yeah. I said, you changed your DNA, and you built yourself a new knee. But the rest of your leg, the muscles, tendons, everything hasn't gotten accustomed to it. It's going to take a while. Well, I walked everywhere with a cane for about 3 months, and then I started lightening up on it. And I've done this around the first of the year, and it's been 3.5 years now. And it was around this time of year, midsummer, that I finally just put the cane away and haven't needed it since. But
Wow.
it did take a while for my rest of my leg to get used to that new knee.
Your body had to catch up to it.
Well,
Yeah,
that
it
makes
had-
sense
it
because
had
it
to
had been
adjust.
favoring it, right?
Yeah.
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 How did you know you could do that? Well, I get asked that question a lot. And the question is, the answer is, I didn't know that I could do it.
Yeah.
I just didn't know I couldn't.
Yeah.
People ask me, how did you clean up a lake in Perth, Australia, and you can't get any further away on this planet from Perth, Australia. It's in the bottom half and the other side of the world, and we cleaned up a lake there. And I got 27 emails from the people that lived there thanking me for putting good water in their flowing out of their kitchen sink. And people say, how did you do that? How did you know you could do it? I didn't. I just didn't know I couldn't.
All right. Let me tell a quick story to Jimmie and to anybody else listening. Lauren and I are talking to Raymond last night.
Okay.
And he says, how's your water?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I'll let you just imagine what my answer was, because our water,
Shreveport water.
Yeah. And he said, well, let me see what I can do, and did a little work on it, and he said, now go let your faucet run for about 10 seconds, and get a glass of water, and we did, and I'll be doggone. You know how, I don't know if you've noticed, but lately it smells like they've been dumping bleach into the water. Our water has an extra bleachy smell. The first thing I noticed, Lauren came in with the glass of water. She went in and ran the water for 10 seconds and came back with the glass of water.
Yeah.
And the first thing I noticed before I even did anything was
The smell, no smell.
no smell. No smell. And then I tasted it. And I don't even know, how do you describe it? Clean.
As it's supposed to.
Clean.
I
Refreshing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I don't know what, you're on to something, Raymond. You're on to something.
Well, apparently, I did the same thing on a talk show last week with 1,500 listeners that could text messages in. And the text messages came in faster than I can read them. But all of them that I saw were all positive. The water was clean. It tasted good. It was all just very short comments, but they were all positive.
Yeah.
And I've done that, I guess, on 6 continents. I haven't done it on Antarctica yet. But I have cleaned up a little bit, not a whole lot, but a little bit of water on all 6 continents.
Wow.
And that was my goal that I set. About 35 years ago, when I read one day that only 2% of the water on this planet was fit to drink, and I got to thinking, well, I got a little kid 3 years old, and by the time I'm gone, is her and her descendants even going to have decent water to drink?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to do something about this. Did I know what I was doing? No. I seldom know what I'm doing. So I set out to clean up as much water in the world as I possibly could, and I haven't got it all yet.
Yeah.
But I've made some headway. But the thing about it is, David, I put this information out there just like this for free. I'm telling all you people this, and I'm not charging anything for it. But does very many people actually go do it? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the problem. That's why people don't get very far in life. They don't do anything with their abilities.
Yeah.
And the difference is I didn't even know whether I had abilities or not, but I was going to give it a try.
Right.
So if somebody asked me, can I do something, I say, well, I don't know if I can or not. I can give it a try and see what happens. And most of the time I win. Then a few times I didn't, but most of the time you will win. And if you have good intentions, which that goes a long ways. See, I'm a nature person. I live way back in the woods like a hermit. I am a hermit.
Right.
And I like nature. And I grow my own food. I mean, I live like my ancestors lived 100 years ago. But I'm concerned about the environment. So there's a river, about half mile a river runs through my place.
Right.
I pretty much got it cleaned up. And I would love to teach other people to do this. Every class I teach, I show people how to do this. But I think the problem is they don't have the confidence in themselves.
Right.
And I'm working on a way to give people confidence, because I think if I could give them the knowledge and the confidence both, they would get more done.
Yeah.
I want to quantify this just a little bit. I don't want to get too far into this, Raymond, but there's something called the Bovis scale, which is it's a life force index for water, and the vast majority of the water that the world drinks is on the Bovis scale, right around 6,500. Now, that may not mean anything, but that's kind of the neutral point for human life. But let me put another number out there. Remember, most of it's right around 6,500. You got to get up to 90,000 on the Bovis scale for water to really be energy balancing, have a life force to it, and have a restorative quality.
We are a long way off.
Oh, and you really need to get up to around 850,000 on the Bovis scale to have, your life forced enhanced water that health practitioners can use to actually heal.
Wow.
Because then you can again, water carries, way more about this than I do. Raymond, I'm out on a limb here, but water...
No, I don't know that I do, Dave, because you've got more scientific information than I have, but I was just measuring the water in my spring
right
here, and I'm getting 900,000 on the Bovis scale.
There you go. There you go. So you've got life force enhancing water. All right, real quickly, would you measure that energy level of Shreveport City water?
Shreveport City water? I can't find any.
Well, that's fair.
Okay. All right. All right, now, but here's the good news. We could do something about that. And we could learn to do something about that, and that's what you're saying, right? Anyone can learn because, again, back to your principles. All things are energy, and that includes water. Mm-hmm. And the intelligent human mind has the power to redirect energy. Energy is impressed on matter, and energy follows thought. So if we're willing to put the effort forth, we can change the life force in our city water, any city's water, right?
Well, I would think so. I don't know how many it will take to do it. Maybe one dedicated person could do it. I don't know. Well, so here's the problem. Energy being impressed upon matter, and the water in a city there's a lot of negativity affecting that water.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's not like a spring out here in the mountains that I drink out of. There's no negative effects on this one out here.
Right.
But the more people you have, and the more pollution that goes into it, the greater the problem is going to be.
Right. But now, one thing you did last evening when you were working on our water for Lauren and I, you impressed I think it was a Montana, a place in Montana.
Yeah, what it is, there's a big spring up there in Great Falls, Montana, that I was made aware of. I've not been there.
Right.
But someone sent me a little sampling of the water from there. So I set that as a standard, that whenever I'm cleaning up water, it meets the same standard, is equal to the Montana spring water with its energy, purity, surface tension, and good taste. And what I have found in most all cases, I won't say every case, but that probably wouldn't be true, but let's just say most cases, I bring the normal tap water in someone's home up to the equal of the Montana spring water.
Wow.
And again, we may not be able to do it with our entire water supply, but if you want to learn how to change the water in your home, let me tell you where to go. RaymondGrace.us. He's got a download that for just very little, you can learn. Any of us that has the intelligence to do it can learn how to change the water in our home. RaymondGrace.us. Let me talk to you a moment about Robinson Film Center, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. No place like the Robinson. You know what's now playing, Jimmie?
What do we got now?
Golda. Helen Mirren and Golda. It's this is going to be great. Also, Old Boy is on.
Oh, that's a psychological thriller.
Yeah. There's always something great going on at the Robinson. And then you got Abby Singer's Bistro, full-service bistro and bar on the second floor of RFC. Open, of course, Tuesday through Saturday for lunch and dinner. You want to join the crowd. You want to join the fun. Become a member of Robinson Film Center. You get discounts on movies. You get concession upgrades. You get bistro deals. Robinson Film Center, 617 Texas Street, downtown Shreveport. RobinsonFilmCenter.org. And we're back. We're back to Strategies for Living here on 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Lauren and Jimmie, and our life strategist, Raymon Grace, RaymondGrace.us. And, of course, also you can visit the Raymond Grace Foundation. But if you go to RaymondGrace.us, you'll find all of the classes there. You can sign up for the free newsletters. You can learn. There's a lot. Raymond, you do a lot of teaching for free on YouTube. And so people can go and really get an idea of how to do what you do and what you teach. And you that's all given away, right?
All right. Actually, I've made 80-some films. I only sell 6 of them. The rest of them I give away.
Yeah, yeah. And one of the ones that, again, if anybody's interested, one of the ones you can get you can get it delivered to you by CD, or you can download it. But it's basically how to energize water, right? Re-energize water.
Yes, people were always asking me to do it, and I think, well, it's not enough of me to go around, so best thing I can do is make a film and show people how to do it themselves.
Yep. And if that's not good enough, they don't want it. You kind of put the intent into the film to go ahead and work on their environment. So,
yeah, I did that. I didn't know it could be done, but I didn't know it couldn't.
Yep.
So I think, well, I'm going to give it a try.
Yep.
So I tell people, if you don't really learn how to do this, play that film and mentally, with intent, direct it to your water supply. Mm-hmm. And we've been able to clean up water like that. Yeah. And that doesn't take much human effort at all. It's just intent.
Yeah. And that's it, human intent. I mean, basically, the universe is going to conform to fit our belief system, won't it?
That is correct. See, we have power over our future. People think we're just victims of the elements, but that's not true. We can literally and do create our future by how we think and how we act.
So, but we really need to look at we need to be willing to think about our belief system, look at our belief system, and look at the things we've believed and maybe been taught for years. You want to ask yourself just a basic question: is it serving me? And do I want to change it? Because we can if we want to, can't we?
Well, let me throw this in too. One belief that I find that people have more than any other belief: they believe they deserve to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. And and there's a lot of ways that varies in our world. But wow, what a changed world it would be if we could change that belief that I deserve to suffer.
Well, the real truth is it can be changed. People just have to be willing to accept the way to do it. And I just have the belief that if something is not to my advantage, that I can change it.
Yeah.
I haven't always been right, but I've been right more times than I've been wrong. But it's amazing to me, and I work with a lot of people, and practically all of them have a belief that they deserve to suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. So everything in this world, I mean, when you start talking about energy, and you've mentioned Einstein, everything in this world has atoms. I mean, it gets down to our water, our air, everything. And intelligent energy is in everything. And if it's in everything, then it's also everywhere. And if it's everywhere, there's nowhere that it's not. And if you're a biblical scholar, you've just recognized that I'm now talking about God, right?
Well, I would agree with you. You said it very, very well. I don't think that what you said can be improved upon.
Well, I actually was quoting you, Raymond.
Thank you.
Let me. I was actually quoting you, and you may or may not remember, but let me, folks. I will full disclose, Raymond, and you and I go back to, I don't know how many times you've been on my radio programs, this one and the one I do on healthylife.net, but probably more than 10 times. You and I go back, I think we met in 2015, if I'm remembering correctly. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I took one of Raymond's courses that, I didn't go to Virginia or where he teaches, but he also from time to time will do courses that you can tune into, and I think it was a couple day, 2 or 3 day course, Raymond, that I was in front of my computer taking notes, and what I just quoted was something that you directly said in that class. So I'm quoting you.
Okay, well, thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. What do you really want to leave people with? I mean, we've covered a lot of territory today. I wish we had another couple of hours because,
Well, I think I can do that pretty simple.
Okay.
Keep on doing what you're doing. You're going to keep on getting what you're getting. So if you want something better in your life, you got to do something different.
Yeah.
And another thing, think of what you want instead of what you don't want. You quoted that up front. And if folks would do that, they could see their life improve.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so many, the power of our mind, and especially the subconscious part of our mind, and this is what that part of our mind doesn't understand the negative words like not or don't. So, your conscious mind, about 15% of your mind can understand the nots and the don'ts, but the vast majority of the mind doesn't. So, if I'm saying I'm not going to smoke cigarettes anymore, well, 15% of my mind hears that, but about 85% of my mind hears I'm going to smoke cigarettes because it cancels out that negative word.
I can't tell you how instrumental that's been in raising my kids.
Yeah.
Understanding that.
Yeah. Because that's, again, raising kids is about forming minds. Yeah. And that's, what a massive responsibility.
You're forming the subconscious.
Well, Dave, that's why I wrote a book on it.
Yeah.
I wrote a book on how I raised my kid. I might not have done everything right, but I did pretty good, and she turned out real well. Matter of fact, she helped me run the business now.
I think April turned out very well. Let me mention your books. I've mentioned the videos, and people can go to RaymondGrace.us, and there's gift cards available there. But the books, the future is yours. Do something about it. You can get a copy of that from RaymondGrace.us, Seasons of April, and you can download that book. And you've got a beautiful,
that is absolutely precious. That's
Angel and her horse, I guess, on the cover of that book. And then Techniques That Work for Me is another book. You can get a hard copy or you can get a download of it. And if you really get into this stuff, you can see right there the videos that you can download that will take you by the hand and teach you. And one of them, since we've been talking about it, and it's very inexpensive, less than the cost of a dinner out. And I'm not talking a dinner at a fancy restaurant. I'm talking about a dinner at McDonald's.
Burger and fries.
Yeah. And the video is called Creating a New Belief System. And it is, I think you can't go wrong. Folks, you cannot go wrong with Raymond Grace. So visit Raymond. And by the way, it's Raymond, Raymon.
Yeah.
Grace, RaymondGrace.us. We will be back to wrap up our conversation this evening with Raymond Grace here on Strategies for Living. Stay where you are. And welcome back. Welcome back into Strategies for Living. Jimmie and Lauren and David with the amazing Raymon Grace. Raymon, Raymond Grace. You can find him at raymondgrace.us. All of you're going to want to check out all that he has to offer there. And then, of course, the Raymond Grace Foundation, if you'd like to help him, and I hope you will, RaymondGraceFoundation.org. Lots of information and projects and videos and things like that. And it's a 501(c), so if you are so minded and you want to help him with donations, you can do that, and you know, it's deductible. Raymond, thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
And thank you for, I know this is well, let's see. This is you're probably busy getting everything in from your garden and about right now, aren't you?
Well, we've just about got most of it.
Yeah.
We do a lot of canning, and like I say, we live a lot like our ancestors did. And I've got about 12,000 square feet of garden space. So yeah, it's coming to an end right now. But it's always thankful to get out there and work. It's something about working in the dirt and growing your own food. It just really gives you a lot of satisfaction.
I can only imagine. Raymond, thank you. I look forward to the next time that you and I get to visit here on Strategies for Living. I hope it's sooner rather than later.
Me too.
Well, Dave, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to the audience tonight because you've provided a way that I can get some information out there to folks that might be interested in it. So I just really appreciate the invitation.
Anytime, my friend, anytime. You've got a wide open invitation. Raymond Grace, you can find him at Raymond Grace. And remember, it's Raymon, raymondgrace.us. If you do nothing, nothing's going to happen. If you do something, something might happen. Future's yours. Do something about it. Raymond Grace. Folks, thank you for tuning in to Strategies for Living. We appreciate you being here with us. We've been brought to you by the Robinson Film Center and by Azalea Cleaners, by Pintail Roofing, by Learning Rx, by Hempress, Cannabis with Love, 3766 Uri Drive in Shreveport, and by the Shreveport Little Theater. If today were the last day of your life, you only had one more phone call that you could make, who would you call? And what would you say? And why are you waiting? Make the call. For Jimmie Bryant, for Lauren Leon McMillian, and for Raymond Grace, I'm David McMillian. See you next time here on Strategies for Living.
Help me